At long last, the Deutschlandticket is about to go on sale and can be used from the 1st of May onwards. For just €49 a month, it gives you unlimited travel on local public transport anywhere in Germany. But it turns out that it may not actually be that useful for everybody. So in this video, I'm going to explain what the ticket is, what it isn't, and whether you should even get one. Now, the situation at the moment is this. Local public transport is organised by local tariff and transport associations, which issue their own tickets and have their own rules, which basically means that you have to learn a new system in almost every city that you visit. This actually is not going to change. The Deutschlandticket isn't going to be a replacement for this old system. It's going to be an extra system in addition to it. There was a lot of press about how the Deutschlandticket is going to end the confusing patchwork of different systems in use all over the country, but in reality it is at best a small step in that direction. But it does mean that you can choose whether or not you really need the Deutschlandticket. If you're currently spending less than an average of €49 a month on local public transport, you can just stick with whatever tickets you're using at the moment. So I currently subscribe to an annual transport pass for my local area, and the Transport Association has sent me a letter with a form that I can fill in if I want them to convert it into a Deutschlandticket. And as I said in the previous video, that will save me over €400 a year. So yes, please. Hilariously, it's a printed form that came via snail mail, and they want me to attach a passport photo to it and then email it to them. I'm not sure they've thought that one through. I am surprised that they need a photo though. As far as I can tell, this isn't a requirement for the Deutschlandticket in general, but on the other hand, it is not transferable. It will have the passenger's name and date of birth on it and will only be valid in conjunction with photo ID. So here's what I think could be happening. Now, I know that my local transport association is developing its own Deutschlandticket app, so maybe they're going to scan my photo so that it can be incorporated into my digital ticket, and then I don't need to show additional ID. I don't know if that's the case everywhere. And no, they did not give me the option of completing a PDF form online and uploading it together with a digital photo. I mean, that would have been the obvious thing to do, but no, they didn't do that. This ticket will be valid for all forms of local public transport that runs to a regular timetable, so not, for example, taxis. This means bus, tram, U-Bahn and S-Bahn services, as well as trains with these prefixes. It is not valid for long-distance trains or coaches. The rules state that it's valid only for one named person and doesn't include dogs or bicycles. However, some local transport associations have said that they will recognize some extra features, for example, allowing you to take somebody with you at weekends. Now, this is entirely the business of each local transport association. They don't have to do it, but they can if they want to. And this means that there will still be different rules in different places. It will be a digital ticket. Now, as I've already mentioned, my local transport association is developing its own app for it, and I suspect others will as well. There are also special Deutschlandticket apps available, and the ticket will be available in the DB Navigator app. If you don't have a German bank account, or at least a European bank account, one that will let you do SEPA transfers, you may not be able to use all the apps that are out there. The DB Navigator app will accept credit card payments and PayPal, and I've also put a link in the description to a dedicated Deutschlandticket app that will accept credit card and debit card payments with a PayPal option promised soon. For those who don't have, or for whatever reason don't want to use a smartphone, the ticket can be issued on a chip card instead. Now, there are no plans for a permanent paper ticket. However, in view of the fact that it might take a little while to implement the technology absolutely everywhere, transport associations are being allowed to issue subscribers with temporary paper tickets until the end of this year. If you're living in Germany, you probably already know whether you're likely to be spending more than 49 euros a month on local public transport. But is this ticket a viable option for tourists? After all, if you're visiting for a couple of weeks and using public transport to tour a couple of different cities, then it might in theory be the cheapest option. But there is a catch, and it's to do with the subscription model. Now, the idea is very simple. You automatically pay 49 euros a month until you cancel the subscription. There is no minimum contract. So, in theory, you could sign up for the ticket and then immediately cancel it and have one 49 euro ticket that is valid for the rest of the month. Well, that is the theory. The problem is that you have to cancel on or before the 10th day of the month. If you miss that deadline, then you will have to pay for one more month. So if you only want to spend 49 euros on this ticket, you will have to buy it and cancel it on or before the 10th. But don't worry, because it will still then be valid right up until the very end of the month. If you cancel after the 10th, then you will be paying at least 98 euros. So let's say, for example, it's the middle of August, you sign up for a subscription and then immediately cancel it. You will effectively be paying 98 euros for a ticket that will be valid for the rest of August and the whole of September. So there is no simple answer to this one. As things stand now, you will have to pay very careful attention to when you travel and how much you expect your local public transport costs to be. And I'm sorry, I wish I had a better answer for you, but for the time being, that's how it's going to work. And that's basically it. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have to fill in a form and work out how on earth I'm going to email it. U-Bahn, S-Bahn, and deeper transfers, you may not be able to use every... I'm sorry, I don't have a better option for... Whoa!